What's going on YouTube? A Delicious Mango back again with another YouTube video, and in this one I'm super excited to finally be talking about the new Season 13 ranked system and my tips, guides, and strategies on how you can gain RP more consistently and at a faster rate than you have been before. Now this season is a lot different than usual. They have completely revamped the RP system. You gain in different ways, you lose in bigger quantities with bigger buy-ins across all divisions. It's a lot to take in, but hopefully with these 5 tips you'll be able to be gaining RP in no time. And you may think, oh, well, I used to be a diamond player, now I'm only a silver player. Perhaps with these tips, you might be able to get right back up into diamond and be playing with the big boys once again. These 5 tips will help you know exactly where to land at the start of the game, how to rotate to get yourself in winning position at the end, and perhaps some legend suggestions that I think might be really beneficial for you on Stormpoint. If you do find these videos and these tips useful, please consider subscribing. I want to make more of these videos, so show some support by leaving a like or leaving a comment. Tell me if you learned anything new or share it with a friend perhaps. I'd love to make more if you guys find this stuff useful. But without further ado, let's get right in with the first tip, which is you need to understand the new point system. In the old point system, there was pretty much 10 RP given for any kill outside of like the top 12, and then your RP started growing with each kill that you got. You would get more RP for each kill the higher up you got in the standings, but that's not really the case anymore. Now, no matter what level you are, from bronze all the way to Apex Predator, you will not be gaining RP because of your kills until you reach the top 10. They have heavily emphasized making sure you place in the top 10 because in their mind, and I agree with this, in a battle royale, if you finish in the bottom 50% of all of the teams surviving, you lose. And I agree with that. I think that's important. But what does that mean for how you should be gaining RP? That basically means that you can play the game the normal way. You can still try and get a lot of kills, but understand that unless you reach the top 10, your kills won't be worth much. So, how does that mean you should land? That's tip number 2, and that is land uncontested. Some teams really enjoy landing in one particular spot. They know how to loot it, they know how to rotate it, and that's fine. If you want to be that way, I totally understand. You may end up fighting teams right off the drop though, which I personally don't think is a very good idea if you're trying to maximize your RP efficiency. The problem with landing contested is that it just leaves your game up to chance or luck. Whatever guns you land on, whatever armors you find, you gotta pick them up and fight right away, and that doesn't always mean that the best team will win. Sometimes you might be the better team, but the other guy just lands on a purple shield and a Spitfire and there's nothing you can do about it. So in my opinion, the best way to minimize the amount of times that you take those big RP losses from coming in 20th place is just try not to land uncontested. See where other teams are dropping out of the ship, find a spot that you like that no one's heading towards, and drop there. You'll be able to get all your loot, you'll be able to rotate, and you'll be able to take a fight on your terms, not on pure luck and chance of if you got a good shield or a good weapon. Tip number 3, now we're getting into the nitty-gritty of how you need to be playing this game in order to win. I believe, and I have found this in ranked play, I found this in competitive play, and I have found this even in pub play, that the absolute best way to ensure the best gains is to rotate where you think the final circle will be once ring 3 is visible on your map. So after the second ring has closed and ring 3 is now available on your minimap, you can take a look and you can pretty much with great certainty guess where the final ring will be. If you're not there already, you need to get your team to the center of that ring and try and hold that spot defensively. In Ring 3, the ring is so small that now if you take a fight, you're likely to be third-party by other teams, especially with all the movement legends and tridents available on Stormpoint. So once you see Ring 3, you should be trying to get to the center. You should maybe take a fight if you can get an easy one, but in reality, you want to be winning the game, which will maximize all of your kills that you'll get eventually at the end of the game. So when you see Ring 3 appear on your minimap, that is the perfect time to try and predict where the circle will go, because it'll be specific enough, usually on one point of interest, usually on one POI, say for example checkpoint. You'll see it's right on checkpoint. There's no other safe area to play. You can get there, you can find a building in the middle of it, and you will hunker down and prepare for the end game. Ring 3, always remember that. When Ring 3 comes up, start rotating to the center of that ring, because that's where the circle will end. Tip number 4, and this is one that can be played around with a little bit based off what kind of legends you like to play, but you should, if you can, run a balanced team composition if possible. Of course, if you're not good with a defensive legend, don't force yourself to play a defensive legend. You should play the legend that you have the most fun with and the legend that you believe you are the best with. But if you're trying to maximize your team utility and use all of your abilities in synergy with one another to ensure that you get the most amount of wins, then most of the time in good ranked play, you need at least one mobility character on your team that can move your team to a safe location. And of course that includes legends. Legends like Octane, Pathfinder, Valkyrie, Ashe, and Wraith. Those are the best ones for mobility. You would need at least one of those legends to make sure your team can rotate safely in and out of fights, around fights, get to the final ring. You need a mobility legend, and then preferably at least one defensive legend. The defensive legends include Rampart, Wattson, Caustic, Gibraltar, and our newest legend, Newcastle. Now, these legends aren't required. There are some really impressive and entertaining teams out there that will run 3 mobility legends, but they are very limited when it comes to the end game if they don't have cover to play around. Especially playing with Gibraltar and Newcastle, they can create cover out of nowhere. They can really help your team in a pinch. And then legends like Rampart, Caustic, and Wattson, if you're able to get to a building and hunker down early, they're almost impossible to stop. So preferably, try to have one of those defensive legends on your team. But if you are going to try and succeed in ranked, it is a necessity that you have at least one of the following 5 characters in Octane, Pathfinder, Wraith, Ashe, and Valkyrie. Valkyrie being the most important right now on Stormpoint. Simply put, she is a get out of jail free card for your entire team. No other legend can pick up your whole team and move them 500 meters away just because you don't like where you are. She can scan the beacon, she can get you great knowledge, and she has great personal mobility, making Valkyrie, in my opinion, the strongest character in this game by far. And yes, that does include Gibraltar and Caustic, the bane of many players' existences. But when it comes to Stormpoint ranked, you are almost better off running Valkyrie than any other legend in the game. I would highly suggest having a Valkyrie or some mobility legend on your team paired with one defensive legend, and the third you can use as a flex based off whoever you like playing the most. The 5th and final tip of this video might be an obvious one, but you need to hear me and understand exactly what I'm saying. When you make it to the final circle, try to be the last team shot. Now you might be thinking, Mango, of course you want to be the last team shot. Why would you want to be the first team shot? That doesn't make any sense. But you need to think about it this way. If there are 3 or more teams going into the final ring, and then by the final ring, I mean when the ring closes and there is absolutely no playable space left, the ring closes down to one small point that all of the teams are going to be fighting and shooting each other in. The team that is the healthiest, the latest, usually wins. You may have an opportunity to shoot another team as they go in, but it's usually not worth it if you're taking a lot of damage yourself. Trust me, in the diamond lobbies I've been playing in, there have been many of these situations, and I can promise you that the healthiest team at the end, the one that's able to fly under the radar the longest and keep all of their health and all of their shields intact before they jump down and clean up the rest of the teams that have already started fighting, that team usually wins. So if you're able to, try and avoid taking fire when you're in that final ring, and I promise you it'll lead to a lot more wins. Guys, if you found this video helpful, please do leave a like and comment down below if you learned something new. If you want to share this video with a friend, I would greatly appreciate it. And like I said at the beginning of the video, if you haven't subscribed, please do consider hitting that subscribe button. I appreciate you. Hope these tips were helpful, and I'll see you all on Twitch. Links in the top of the bio, and I'll catch you in the next video.